Greetings, sports fans. This is George with Custom Tide Flies and Guide Service. I'm going to be doing a custom pattern for a buddy of mine. This is Pete's mini woolly booger with a chartreuse tail. So this is what it looks like when it's done. Okay, so this has got a little weight in it. Before I forget, please like and subscribe to this YouTube channel. I will put the ingredients in the description, of course, but I'll walk you through what I got here as we go. Excuse me. So to start off with, this is a Mustad 9672. It's a 4-inch long, 4X long nymph hook. I think it's either 4 or 2X. The bead is, excuse me, a Wholesale Fly Company brass 3.2 millimeter in matte black. All right, my thread I'm using Danville Fly Master in 140D black, and for the little bit of extra weight, I'm using Hareline's lead wire in 0.020. So we're going to have 8 wraps of lead. So to get these wraps tight, I just hold a little itty bitty tag end down next to the hook shank, and then that's 1, 2. It's going to try to spin on you, so it might take a couple of tries. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And this is just to basically hold the bead in place. So you got that little tag in there. You can just push that around. I mean, you could snap it off or cut it off, but then I'm going to build a little thread dam here behind it, and I'm going to push that lead up in there. I'm going to take some loose wraps, and then I'm going to take 2 big wraps so I can get back to the end of the lead, and then I'm going to pull up on it, and that gets that lead seated up in the bead head. All right, and I just fold my tag in up. Give me a little whip right here. And that gives me a good snip point that I can get rid of those 2 pieces of thread. Then I'm going to take some head cement. You could also use super glue. And just paint that on there. And set that off to cure. When it's done, mount the lead covered wire shank. Little thread base here. Take that all the way back to the bend. Let that hang about halfway up toward the point. And then we're going to use some Nature's Spirit Premium Booger. And I like to use 2. You don't have to, but I like a nice full tail. See, nice full tail. That might be too full, come to think of it. Yeah, it was, but it's not quite full enough, so I'll show you a hack for that here. You're going to line that up so it's about a hook shank length. Then just bring that back. Take a couple of pinch wraps right here at the back. Bring my thread up. And I'm just going to take a couple of loose wraps right here. I don't want that right up close to the head like that, so. That's better. All right, so I told you I'd show you a little hack to get a little more fuller. So you got these stems from your Marabou. I'll take a pair of long point scissors and I just pull those out at a 90-degree angle from the stem. Grab my thumb and forefinger like this. Snip some off. And then just ball it up in between my fingers. You want to try to match them up. Okay. And just lay them right on top. Take a couple of pinch wraps. And you can trim off that fluffy stuff there. You want to try to compact that down best you can so that you got a good body shape. All right, now in order to keep this from fouling, I take a couple of wraps behind. And that keeps it from falling around the hook. All right, now in order to attach the materials in the proper order, you got to think about how they're going to go on. So the last thing to come up on a woolly booger is your wire. So I have some UTC ultra wire in silver, size small, because this guy's a number 12. Like I said, it's a mini booger. So I'm just going to attach that. I want that attached so that the tie-in point is toward me and the secure point is behind the fly. All right. And now the next thing to come up is going to be the hackle. So I want to select a hackle off of the either woolly booger hackles or off of the pelt where the base up by the fluff is about a shank length. And then I'm going to go up here towards the top. And I'm going to peel those back. And there's my little tie-in point. So I'm going to put this tie-in point right here at the back. I'm going to run this up. Lock that down. And I'm going to fold this back over this way. And that really locks it in. I ain't going anywhere. And there's some people that'll put a little juice on there. I don't. I don't really feel it's necessary. But, you know, you're the guy behind the vise. So whatever it is you think you need to do, you go for it. All right, next is a little flash. So I got 3 strands of Hareline's Krystal Flash in rainbow. I'm going to line those tips up. And then I want this to be about the same length as the Marabou. So here I'm going to take a couple of loose wraps to get that lined up. And just push those out of the way. All right, and then I'm going to fold this back because I'm going to put that over top of the chenille when I'm done with it. Okay, so the chenille I'm using is this black size small. I got that many years ago from a place on eBay called Nimrod's Tackle. I think the guy's name is DJ Kelly, but he sells his stuff in bulk and at a really good price. So I bought it like 20 years ago, and I still got probably a football field's worth. I got more the chenille that I'll use in my lifetime. Okay, so there's my chenille. Now I'm done with attaching my materials. I'm just going to let my thread hang, and I'm going to wrap this forward. I don't want a curve there. You see that little curve bump? I don't want that. There we go. That's better. Just take 2 little securing wraps, turn that free, and take 1 more. You could take 3 to begin with, but all right. So next is your flash, and you're just going to bring that straight up, right across the back. See that? Right across the back. And again, 2 wraps to just secure it. Turn that off. Now, excuse me, in order to keep this organized, I just take a pair of Hackle pliers, clip them on there like that. And I got that for my next one. Here you take 1 more. Okay. Now, your Hackle. Got a pair of non-slip Hackle pliers here. And I'm going to start wrapping forward in open spirals, palmering forward and pulling the barbs back towards the back as I wrap. This is not something to do in a hurried pace. You want this to be accurate. And then take 2 wraps to secure that. And a 3rd. All right, now here you're going to use 2 half hitches. Swing your bobbin cradle over. Then you're going to wrap your wire. And you want to make sure that you don't capture your flash with your wire. Sometimes that happens. There we go. See, now I got all my flash right in the center where I want it. Okay, now I'm going to take a pair of Hackle pliers and put on my wire, and then I'm going to watch where my wire goes, and if I'm going to trap Hackle fibers, I take a pick. That's just a hat pin. I get a box of like 100 of them at Walmart for $5. But, you know, you could also use a dubbing needle. You just want to pull those out of the way so they don't get trapped. You want to be careful that you don't pull your flash out. That is, I've done that, and that's, you know, that's very frustrating, because then you got to tear the whole thing apart and do it all over again. One more little, there we go. And you just end your wire on top. You could take one more wrap of wire, but you don't really need to. Get your bobbin cradle out of the way, and you want to wrap behind 2 or 3. And then in front. Just make sure you don't trap any of those hackles, those barbs. Then you can helicopter that wire off. Put a little head cement or UV. I'm using UV. Solarez bone dry. Get that beaded up on the thread. Put a little whip finish on there. Sometimes it's, you got to hold those hackles back out of the way. Looks like I still managed to trap one fiber there. Okay. Looks like I'm going to have to replace the battery on my light here. That's why I keep a spare. All right. Now, you see how these flashes are still kind of screwy. You can juke them around until they go where you want them to. Well, there you have it. Pete's mini booger with a chartreuse tail. Excuse me. I want to thank you for paying attention to this YouTube video. Please like and subscribe. You can find this and other cool fish catching bugs on my website at www.custom-tied.com. That's CUSTOM-TIED.com. Have a splash. Don't forget the dash. Happy tying.